Welcome back again, everyone. We're now up to step 5 of our rotation step-by-step video. And as you can see, I've worked on the coloring of my character, and it's looking a bit better now. I'll zoom in to show you a bit more of the detail. So this is the very top layer. Everything is active. So this is obviously the color. Everything is there, and then if I turn that off, there is the volume. And if I turn that off, the very first one is very bottom layer is a basic gesture. So this made up of my character. This is where you're supposed to be right now. So what I want to do is to make first I'm gonna make some lines to help me draw the other sides, like the side view and the back view, which is very important to keep it aligned because we want to keep the proportion. But we don't want again to mess up our layers because it can easily get very frustrating. So an easy way to do that is to press Shift and select everything, and we're going to group them together by pressing Control G to group, just like when you're in Blender and you want to group your furnitures together. And we'll quickly name this group Front View, because now we know that every asset of the front view is in this folder. Now I reckon this whole thing is a bit too big. My character is almost touching the top and the bottom, and I want to make it smaller. So I'm going to select the marquee, rectangular marquee tool, or M, and Control T. And as you can see, it is actually, because we are selecting the whole group, we are resizing the whole thing, which is very, very handy. So we can just do, oh, whoop, that's definitely what I want. So guys, if you want to keep the proportion without making it all stretch out like that, if you press Shift, just by Shift and then moving your mouse, it'll keep the proportion but keeping it, it'll still enlarge and resize it. So just enter after you're happy with it. And now before I start anything, I want to create a new layer at the bottom, so underneath the front view, and I'm gonna name this my well, lines, grid lines, because these are the lines that are gonna tell me where should I start the face, the head, the shoulder, and so on and so forth. So to do that, I'm gonna open my group, my front view group, and I'm going to unsee all of these color, line work, and volume, and I'm just going to leave basic gesture. And I'm going to go now to my grid lines, and this is the same for Photoshop and GIMP. If you just press Shift while clicking on your brush, I'll show you here. If you press Shift, then it'll create one line across, and you just press Enter. And what I'm going to do is, it does that sometimes, if you just Control Z and then do it again, it'll be fine. So I'm making a line right where the head is, because then this will help me in knowing that, yep, this is the right line to start the shoulder. So Control Z again. Ooh, that's probably a little bit too high. And you can change the, obviously, if you go down, then the line will also go. So Shift. That's slightly thinner, and then keep doing this. If you're on GIMP, you'll have to press Shift and Control to keep the straight line using your brush tool, but essentially they're the same. It's annoying having to Control Z every time, but thing that you have to do, right? So this is telling me that this is where I have to start the knee, and this is where I have to start feet. And generally there. So double clicking it also deactivates it. So you have something like that, and if you want it to be a bit neater, then line up a bit, just superficial. but if you're a bit obsessive compulsive, you might want to clean that up a bit. Alright, so we have that. So now you know exactly what to do. We're going to make a new layer, and I'm going to name it. So we're going to go through the same process as the front view all over again, starting with basic gesture. Now, if you're thinking right now, oh my goodness, do I have to do this for all three of them? I mean, I'll never finish. The answer to that is no. Once you finish these two, that's it, because the back view, you can simply just copy and paste the front view character and then erase the inside. It'll all make sense later. So this is going to be the last time you have to repeat all of this process. So I have a new folder called basic gesture, and choosing my brush until I'm happy. Then I'm going to just start again. That's too small. I'm just going to use that. I'm going to keep it roughly the same. Now, a human head from the side would actually be longer like that. Head, so you know, on the side will be. Actually, opacity is very high. Okay, and then so you see how I'm actually following this. And once you get the hang of it, it'll be very fast because it's like second nature to you. Now, with arm, I don't actually want it to draw right here where it's supposed to be. Rather, I'll indicate where the arm was supposed to start. But with the character designing, usually you want to leave this undrawn because the modeler needs to know what's happening underneath this arm. So instead, we're going to draw the arm out here on its own, like this. Okay. But we need one more line across there, so I'll know where the hand is. But there you go. This is a little too thick, so I'm just gonna the side of the head is actually a bit longer. It's more of a footy shape. The cranium, just where your brain is stored. Okay, so that's from the side. And then you know the drill. You make a new one, and then you'll name this volume. And then you'll start choosing the same color. So there's a bit of blue like that. And I'm gonna start building the volume. Oh, don't forget to turn on the volume here so you can see what's going on as well. The square can remain a square. You won't see much. It's just this that you need to worry about. The legs down here, there, down there, and finally this triangular shape. You can see, and this as well. Okay. Now make sure that you're selecting the right one whenever you're doing any of this, because once you draw on a wrong layer, it'll be very, very difficult to get it back, basically, to recover it. Okay, so I'm just being very pedantic and well, that is actually enough. That's what you want. And you know the drill by now. So line work. Now line work is tricky because if you feel that these guidelines aren't enough and you need to add, let's say, another line for where the scarf is or where some of the creases or the pockets, then please add it back in the grid line if you need extra help. If you don't, then by all means make a new layer, name it line work, and then just zoom in and start drawing. Okay, and that would be drawing here from the side would require a bit of practice. Nothing that cannot be done with a bit of patience. So following that guideline. Go handkerchief. And then I know that my vest will wrap around. So you get the idea. I'm just gonna draw this as we go. Continue there. So wear the vest. Go out of that. And yep, his shoulder will be pretty exposed there, as there will be nothing. So you already know the step, and I don't need to actually tell you everything again from scratch. You're basically trying to match the side view and the back view like that. The grid line's getting a bit too opaque, so I'm going to reduce it down a bit. And don't forget, if this is getting confusing, then please group them. So press Shift, basic gesture, not the grid line. The grid line has to stay on its own. But these three that you have just done, 1, 2, 3, group them. So Control G to group them, and name them side view. This way, you are not going to lose them, and you know where they are. And if you're afraid you're going to accidentally click on something, let's say this one, then you just simply lock them. So you click on that little icon there to lock, making sure that you can't accidentally click on it. You have to physically unlock it. So I would do that if you're afraid that it's going to get to the grid lines as well. So I'll leave you to it. I'll leave you to finish the side view, and again you need to finally have a color line work on top, but generally this is the step to make the front and the side view, and by next video you'll have this all done and we will proceed to the back view.